Oh yeah, time for lists. I've earned your trust for lists, right? Right? Hey guys, Masako X here. Now, I'm a fair ways through my playthrough of Xenoverse 2 with my main character, Paata, a lovable Saiyan who has an adorable butt. And if you want to check out that playthrough in its entirety, be sure to check the playlist link down in the description. So whilst I was specking out Paata and choosing which moves to give to him, I started to think, there are sure a lot of cool moves in Dragon Ball, but which is the coolest? I decided for my first top 10 Dragon Ball related list that it should be about techniques and moves. So my top 10 Dragon Ball moves / techniques. And by the way, I'm not counting transformations like Super Saiyan, so sorry guys, that's a whole other kettle of fish. So let's kick things off with number 10, the Kamehameha. Well, I could not have it on the list, could I? It's one of the quintessential moves of Dragon Ball, and it's just so iconic and recognizable the world over. You don't even have to be a fan of Dragon Ball to know what the Kamehameha is. It's like the Hadouken from Street Fighter. Also, there are hundreds of moves in Dragon Ball, and for this to make the top 10, that's saying something. But the reason why it's so far down is because it's just a straight out ki attack. It just doesn't really have any kind of flair other than just being completely devastating. But nonetheless, it is definitely one move to have in your arsenal. Not only that, but it introduced us to the whole idea of ki attacks and just shouting attack names that weren't just martial arts moves. It added a whole other spectrum to Dragon Ball. 30 years on and it's just as popular. It's a simple blue beam of light that can be mastered by anybody. It could take years to perfect, but you can do it no matter what race you are. Well, it takes minutes if you're Goku. It is powerful, chargeable, and easy to learn. Number 9, Stardust Breaker. It may have been used only once in Dragon Ball, and even that was in a movie, but its power is maximum. A rainbow ball of what looks like metallic goop compresses down to the size of a pea and can be hurled at great speeds. It is enough to penetrate the body of Janemba and halt him in one move. Not only that, but it eats you from the inside! Oh, that's so cool! It's one of those attacks that you could use and then use the phrase, "You're already dead," and looks so cool doing it. The move just added even more luster to Gogeta's mysterious appearances throughout Dragon Ball. Number 8, the Meteor Crash. Now this is more of a physical technique than the ones I've just listed, but it's still effective nonetheless. Mastered by Goku in his Super Saiyan 2 form during the Majin Buu saga, it is a series of kicks, elbows, and punches that are done at such a ferocious speed that your enemy has very little time to counter. It's one of those moves in Dragon Ball Xenoverse that I never want to get rid of. It's just so useful. I bet you're the same way, so let me know if you use Meteor Crash in your builds of Xenoverse characters. Now some may argue that it's not a technique, it's just a combo of punches and kicks. But you can't deny its usefulness in both the anime and the games. Number 7, the Special Beam Cannon. Now picture this. You've just gotten into Dragon Ball, and you've now come across an enemy that is way stronger than anything you've ever come across. The only way the hero can defeat the enemy is to team up with his sworn enemy, and then be killed by his enemy's latest and greatest attack. Now that's a lot to take in when you've just started a new series. Also, the move literally translates to demonic piercing light murder gun. I'm already sold. It's basically an energy drill that pierces anything in its path, or if your enemy's quite strong, it'll at least explode on impact. The only downside that I see is that if you're new to the technique, it takes a long time to charge. But with further concentration and an increase in power, you can use it much more quickly and much more flexibly, because further along the series, Piccolo is able to use it almost instantaneously. It makes this list due to the impact that it made at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. Number 6, the Final Shine / Final Flash. Now why did I put these in the same slot? Because they're generally the same thing really, only that the Final Shine is a more refined version of the Final Flash. In any case, the Final Flash is Vegeta's ultimate attack, and it's a terrifying one to go up against. Vegeta is usually very miffed when he's using the Final Flash, so that just adds to the intensity. When used against Perfect Cell, Vegeta was able to inflict much more damage than he could have done with normal attacks. It's a technique that can be used to silence cocky opponents. If you had this in your arsenal, you could easily end a fight. Number 5. Instant transmission. Now this is one of the most convenient techniques in Dragon Ball, period. It can be used for anything. It could be used for transportation, it could be used as part of an attack, note the instant Kamehameha that Goku used against Cell, or as a means of escape. You could even use it to cross dimensions as Cell did once he reformed after Goku's sacrifice. The major downside to this heavily useful move is that you have to lock on to a key signature in order to use it. If that key signature is too weak or too far away, then you're out of luck. Nonetheless, this move has proved crucial in so many situations during Dragon Ball's history. Now there is a further refined version of instant transmission called instantaneous movement that is used by the Supreme Kai, Kami, and Mr. Popo to name a few. But it seems to be only used by godly beings as of now. Thank you, the people of Yardrat! You've proven very useful. Number 4. The Dodon Ray. The Dodon Ray was one of the first techniques in Dragon Ball that could rival the Kamehameha. So as such, it's proven to be a very intimidating and iconic move. Now instead of a huge ball of ki, the Dodon Ray is a precise and intricate move that can be used to great effect and with great speed. First demonstrated by Mercenary Tao and then perfected by ShiiroHana and Chiaotzu, the Dodon Ray can be used to end battles quickly if you use it at the right place. If you use that sucker through the heart, you can kill somebody with it. I've actually got the Dodon Ray on Paata's build because I love its precision and I love the fact that it doesn't require charging time. You can use it in an instant, but at the same time, you can charge it, and if you do charge it, it's devastating. That, and I love the fact that the Dodon Ray is named after a genre of Japanese music from the 1960s. It's just so Toriyama. Number 3. The Destructo Disc. It cuts people in half. Need I say more? Krillin's signature technique deserves to be lauded as one of the most ingenious techniques in the entirety of Dragon Ball. It is so lethal and so powerful, if it hits. The big downside is that it takes immense concentration and accuracy to pull it off. Krillin has used this move somewhat effectively by chopping some of Frieza's tail off, but other than that, it's rarely been used to much fanfare. Now if you use the Destructo Disc as a sneak attack, and catch someone unawares, you could kill somebody with it. If Krillin had used it while Frieza was in his first or second form, he could have killed Frieza. However, if the enemy starts to get way more stronger than you, then the Destructo Disc kind of falls flat and it will fail much more often. Nonetheless, I think it's a clever move and it deserves to be this high up on the list. Number 2. The Kaioken. I love Kaioken. I love it so much that I even made a video about it that you can check out in the description. The precursor to Super Saiyan, the Kaioken is a dangerous technique that, if ineptly used, can kill the user. But if you use it properly, then it can deal so much more damage than a normal person ever could. Now you could argue that it's just some kind of energy boost, nothing special, but its appearance and danger are what entice me so much. It takes strategy to use this. You can't just pull this out willy-nilly like the Dodon Ray or the Stardust Breaker or whatever. You have to be careful with it. And as such, it gets to number 2. Now here we are. Number 1. My favorite move in the history of Dragon Ball is the Spirit Sword. Eh? I hear you say. Just when you think that Vegito couldn't be more overpowered, you get a Spirit Sword through the chest. It's just such a brutal move. It just looks so cool. Now I know that this technique's been emulated in other series like Yu Yu Hakusho with Kuwabara's Spirit Sword, but it's still a very useful attack to have. You can surprise enemies with a sudden jab from very far away or from up close. It doesn't really matter where you are, so long as you have enough ki to go far out from your body, then it can work. Not only that, but it's just funny dangling someone from a giant energy sword. You can spin them round and round, you can slam them into rocks, you can pretty much do anything you want. Or just slice them in half, whatever. If you're not a Margin or have the convenience of regeneration, you're pretty much gonna bleed out. Now this may not be the most original move out there, but honestly, I don't care. Vegito's attitude whilst he used this just seals this as my number 1. I love it. That's my 10 favourite moves from Dragon Ball. What are your favourite 10 moves? Just leave a comment down below and I'd love to get this discussion going. Now be aware that this is just my opinion of my favourite 10 moves. There are far more moves out there in Dragon Ball which are cool, so just be aware of that, okay? But anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to think. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first top 10 list. I may do more in the future if you'd like. But until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.